All right, ladies, welcome to our new moon in Sidereal Sagittarius. Yes, this is our CEO moon. I am super excited for that because this is the time to set the vision. We are at the beginning of the year. And oftentimes what I find even myself doing is I want to hit the ground running. It's like, it's the new year, go. And what I found with not only lunar planning, following astrology, there's seasons. There's seasons. If you've been following me at least for the past year, you realize that there are seasons and there are times for things. And this is the season of vision, the season of breaking past what we thought and stepping into new. And the only way that we can do that is by taking the time to do it. Now, if you guys did the retreat, and so you guys did a lot of that already. You kind of already set your more bigger vision of what you want in your life, kind of where you're at, what you're doing. But now we want to zone this in and more so focus on specifics and also more so in your business, right? What you're doing, how you're visioning for your business, how you're moving into this new year, what it is you want to do. I've talked to a few people this past week and I've like halted all of their launches because they're like, I want to launch this and I want, like, hold up. What are we doing? Wait, do you have all the specifics down? Do you know who this is for? Have you done your market research? Like, we can't just say we're going to do this and not have done all the steps beforehand. So that is what this new moon cycle is telling us to do. Now, mixed in with all the other energy we're going to talk about in a bit is making that a little bit challenging, but it's still the time for vision. So let's just keep that there. Hello, Miss Karen, welcome. It's great to see you. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to reflect, my friends, because you guys know how important that is. We're going to reflect and release. So go ahead and take out your notebook, take a piece of paper, and let's reflect. Now, you can reflect on however far back you need to reflect. If you reflected during the retreat, or if you haven't reflected, if it's been a little bit longer than that, that's perfectly fine. Just we're going to give you some questions to kind of work through and just see what comes up. It may be in the past couple of weeks, it may be further back, but whatever comes up. So what did you accomplish in this time frame? What did you accomplish? What were the good stuff? I know there was good stuff in there.
So we're talking about the year in review?
Not necessarily. It could be the last couple of weeks. It could be the past week. It could be further back, depending on how long it's been since you've done like a review.
Okay.
We usually do the review month to month, so it's usually the past 30 days. So you can set that time frame in your mind as well. But since you did do the retreat reflection, you're probably kind of caught up on a lot of that. So you might look on the last couple of weeks. What were you able to do?
Okay.
And even back into the retreat, like, right? We all set our vision. We did our vision boards, right? Maybe there were some aha moments that came out of that. There might even have been things in the past week that you've been able to do. Like, my big accomplishment was I took the week off last week, and it was the best thing I could have ever done. Seriously, it was like, I felt like I needed that time. I needed a break. I needed to reflect, and I needed to take the week to do it. And it was beautiful. So that was what I accomplished. That was my biggest accomplishment in the past couple of weeks. And it might even be, you know what, maybe I didn't blow up at that person I normally blow up at.
Those are achievements.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those are those stop moments where you're like, oh. Mm-hmm. Even today, I felt myself like we're in Sagittarius moon, so I felt myself very oh. And I had to stop myself and be like, I'm sorry, babe. I love you. I didn't mean it. I was just in a hurry.
Hmm.
Maybe you chose to drink a glass of water or a glass of tea instead of that syrupy drink, that sugary drink. Maybe you chose, something healthier to do. Maybe you listened to something instead of like vegging out, right? Maybe you listened to a podcast or something that was helping you reframe your mind. It's easy to go into like, I did nothing. It sucked. It was horrible. It's easy to go there. And you might even now add on to that. What did you learn? Maybe what came up when you stopped yourself or when you chose something different. Look at that for a second. What did you learn in that? Or maybe, literally, maybe you took a class or you heard something that you want to implement in your business or in your life. And the easy one, what challenges did you have? What stopped you? What got in your way? What didn't go so great? What was that struggle that you're like, oh? The pattern you may be repeating that you're like, oh, I did it again. What is it? Maybe you let something get to you. And you're like, nope, that's not going to happen anymore. I don't want that to happen. And now the best question. What are you ready to release? What are you ready to let go of? What have you been holding on to? One of the things that I am definitely ready to release is my attachment to emotional eating, something that I have struggled with my entire life. And I set a goal for these, well, I set it for the first quarter, but then I was like, okay, hold it back. Let me pull this back. We follow my own guidance. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this for 30 days. And I'm going to not make it strict, not make it hard. I'm going to make it easy, and I'm going to take baby steps. And so I decided 2 days out of the week, it would be pure juice as well as fruits and vegetables. So if I wanted to eat like baby carrots or something, I could do that, but nothing cooked, like all raw. And then the other 5 days of the week, it would be 2 shakes and a meal. And so the first day, it was a Sunday. And Sundays, we do trivia, and we usually have wine with trivia. And so that kind of threw out the whole juice, although we loved to justify it by saying that grapes are a fruit and hello, we're just having fruit. But we didn't, we're like, okay, we're fine. We can have a couple of glasses and that's it. And so we did. We both had a couple of glasses because we're both doing it. And then, of course, because now I had alcohol, I want something to combat that. So I need something salty. So instead, normally, I can tell you, we would have went and got something to eat, or I would have made like a dinner. And this time I was like, popcorn. Is it the best? No. But it was definitely a better decision than I had made before, right? And I consciously made this decision. I didn't say, oh my God, let me just go get something. I consciously stopped myself and was like, what would be my best move at this point? And that was to choose the popcorn. So then the next, the days piled up, and I started to see, actually after the 2 days, your palate already starts to change, right? When you do like detoxing, this happens. And so my palate had changed, and I had, what did I eat? I had a salad or something, and the dressing was like too sweet. And I was like, what is this? This is disgusting. And I didn't like it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm already starting to change, and it's only been a couple of days. So I was really proud of myself, right? Now, not that I have made always the best decisions, because I haven't, but I'm much more aware. I'm much more conscious of the decisions that I'm making. And I'm not just haphazardly saying, oh, I'm just going to go do this, right? When I want to go eat something, I grab this lovely cup of water and I make sure I drink it. And if I'm still hungry, then I eat an apple because I love apples. So am I making always the best choice? No, but I'm not beating myself up. I'm not restricting myself so much that it's making it really hard for me. I'm going at it slowly. I'm not saying this is going to be for the rest of my life. I'm only committing myself for 30 days. Now, after the 30 days, if I want to throw it all in the basket, then I will. If I want to change, I will, right? I'm not making this big commitment that feels so overwhelming that I'm going to stop myself. I'm making this one little tiny step every single day and choosing. Like this morning, I had not this morning, but like kind of like afternoonish, I had a salad, and that's it. That's all I had was just a salad. Where normally I would have been like, well, I want this, and I want a sandwich with it, and like I would have piled it all on. And I was like, nah, sounds good. I'm good. And I realized I can start to recognize, well, my body's full. It doesn't need any more. Where before I was just starting to feed myself just because it was the thing to do. So that is something that I'm ready to release. I'm ready to release this emotional eating that has been pulling me back for years. And it's also something that I learned. It's also something I'm very proud of that I accomplished, right? I know the things that are getting in my way. We went grocery shopping and I was like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that because if it's in my house, I'm going to eat it. So, things that I'm celebrating. Anybody else want to share anything that you want to release or anything you're celebrating, anything you've learned in the past couple of weeks or beyond that?
I'll share.
Go for it.
Yeah. So for this month too, I'm taking on not drinking alcohol. which because that's like a snowball pattern for me. It's drinking and then a little smoking, vaping at night, and then the eating. I need something salty. My thing is salt and vinegar potato chips, and then it just devolves from there. So so both my fiance Jeff and I are both, no drinking, and starting the second, so second to the second, right? So I've been noticing how much clearer I am. Just even getting out of bed in the morning, I'm less achy. So I would wake up and just be like, everything is breaking down, and noticing, just what's happening out of this habit, and thinking, all right, I'm just tired of feeling this way. So I really would like to get a handle on this. If I can do this one thing, let me try it for a month. And so far it's been good. It's been a good experience. And from that, I will say from the clarity of suspending the alcohol. Another thing I'd like to say I accomplished in this past week is I found this Ayurvedic menu. I get these newsletters from this Ayurvedic site, and they said, here's the menu that we recommend foods for January. So I took a look at the menu, and I said, hey, to Jeff, would you like to, let's shop this menu. We'll do prep for the week, and let's see if we can come up with a system where we make our food for the week and have it. And, so far that's good. I think we're going to have to revisit Wednesday and revamp our supply, but that felt really good to do. I mean, there's tea that you make in the morning, and there's, this grapefruit thing that I never would have tried otherwise. So and then I'm not drinking the coffee. I haven't had coffee in 2 days, which I'm like, whoa, that's weird to not.
That is weird, right? I've been doing that too. Yeah.
So I'm noticing small adjust, okay, if I can just focus on this rather than this whole big thing I think I need to tackle, then everything else starts to get affected by these small decisions. If I can just stick to that, then everything else is going to fall in line. So I think those are the two main things. Oh, and also I started after the retreat, the retreat I did with you. There's this other feminine power workshop that I have on a disc, and I didn't get through it. I bought the program, and I thought I just really want support with this. So I contacted a friend of mine, a colleague, a work colleague I rarely see. And I said, hey, do you want to do this course with me? And I kind of, she's like, sure. She just was a yes. Nice. And I didn't know how interested she'd be, but we've done the second module now. And she's like, I'm so glad we're doing this. And it totally is addressing, when we make commitments to ourselves, what is the thing that stops? Why do we fall out or fall off, or we stop doing this thing? What is the mechanism that's at work when that happens? So I'm glad too, because I feel like taking your retreat put me on this path to, okay, well, now this, okay, now this. And I'm just a commitment to stay on, what is inspiring to me about, especially the new moon cycles, that's inspiring to me. I'm just moving towards everything that's inspiring and keeping me inspired and in action. Yes. Without okay, I've got to have this done and this done, or else I'm a bad person, so I'm just trying to stay in the excitement and the inspiration and forward movement. Nice. And that's the goal. Yes. Thank you.
I love that, Zumi. I love that. And I think it's so important for us to tune into where we're at and what we're doing, and keep doing that, right? When we lose inspiration, man, that's where everything falls apart. I know for me, in my motivation strategy, if I am not inspired, I do not work. Yes. I will sit on the couch and watch Netflix, or go shopping when we used to be able to do that. I literally would just zone out of the world. I would escape because I had no inspiration. The minute I had inspiration, man, it's I'm on fire. Let's go do the thing. Right. Yes. So I love that you're recognizing that and tuning into that, because that's so important.
Thank you.
Keep following it. Yes. Awesome. Jay, anything you want to share?
Let me unmute myself. Yes, that is inspiring. So thank you for sharing that, Zumi, because those are things that I think we all kind of start thinking about. What else do we need to be doing? And you get really clouded with so many goals and stuff. But my thing is continuing on. I think the last time we got together was just continuing that self-care, because that's very difficult for me, and being present. And that's just so, I know Danny had told me a couple of months back that, you're not in the present, and that really hit home, and realizing, that I am in the past and I'm in the future, and I'm not in the present time. And so I've really been seeing how, I'm pulling myself to be in the present. It's like, it's a struggle. It's such a struggle for me. It's crazy, because I'm always worried about this child, or this, or my spouse, or this person. And it's just never about me and my self-care and what's happening now, and just being grateful for now.
Yeah.
And so, some of the goals that I had set out was to continue the yoga. So we've been doing a little less of yoga, but I have still been doing it. A little less of yoga, but in implementing other things. So I dusted off my old white boot skates.
Oh, I love that.
And I've been skating, realizing that I need some new bearings though on my skates, because I've been sitting too long. So very excited, because I ordered them. So I'm going to upgrade my skates. And, I'm like, I got to do something for myself. I got to continue to do my reading. And like, I have books that I'm like, I got to get to these books.
Yes.
So I at least dedicate like a chapter a night. I'm like, no matter what, you're reading a chapter, because I just start, my youngest will be like, can you help me with this? Can you do this? And can you, she has a hard time sleeping sometimes. So I do tapping with her, and then I end up sleeping for an hour in her bed, and then it messes me all up. So I'm like, So I have to dedicate those things to myself, and I have been. So that's been really cool. Just reading, doing my skating in my backyard, not ready to go out yet. And then, tapping, meditation, the teas and the herbs, and learning a little bit more about herbs, and how amazing they are. I finished my first dosage of my herbs from my acupuncturist, and I feel so good. It was, I told her, I was like, what is this stuff? What's going on here? What are you putting in this? But it was basically a tea to drink the pain away, is what she said. I'll drink the pain away. I'm like, wow. So I was like, basically like the toxins and, things like that.
All of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I carry all my stress on my back, my shoulders and my lower back. And then when it's really bad, then my sciatic kicks in. And so it's been good. That's been really awesome. And then what I've learned from it is just that I'm continuing to grow, and I'm keeping that open mind. I'm keeping myself centered. I'm not sitting idle and just sitting in the pain, or the, worrying about this person or that person, in my family. And it's been great, because when the hectic things have been thrown at me, I feel centered. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. What do we need to do? Take the bull by the horns, and let's just take care of it. And I've reflected on that and noticed that's where I'm at with things. It's been chaotic energy. I think I even shared with Danny a little bit, that I was feeling like heavy energy, but even with that heavy energy, I felt centered. I felt like, okay. And not just personally, but just out in the world, we know that we're feeling that chaotic energy. And so it's been good to kind of just take the information in, and being able just to release it, and just be like, okay, well, where do I sit with this? And so, what are you releasing is basically, what the question was, what are we ready to release, and what are we ready to let go, or what's been holding us back. And, you know, on a personal level, it's just more of just ready to release the hurt, and I'm ready to forgive, but continue to move forward with my revised boundaries.
Yeah.
And so, but continuing to have my boundaries and just making sure that I'm still taking care of myself. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just self-care.
Yes, I love that,
Yeah.
Drea. I
Great.
love, because I know that you've had some chaoticness in the past,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a month or so.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that you're still feeling that centered and that
Yeah.
groundedness and being in the present.
Yeah.
Because I know that's been a challenge. I'm
It's a
so excited
challenge.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, can I just say,
Awesome.
Andrea, I had the roller skating thing seems to be in the ethers because my friend, I had a friend call me like, how do you feel about roller skating and getting a new pair, like what, you know, getting a pair of skates? I'm like,
I
I'm
love
down.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's something about that going on right now, I feel.
Yeah, there is a movement. I noticed there is a movement. My little one was like, what about me? I want to do this too. So we actually picked a pair today for her. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting you a pair. I'm getting you the padding and everything, but you're going to learn the moves that I used to. She's like, oh no, this is going to be embarrassing. It'll be
The
fun. I have a
best.
partner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I was on roller skates from the time I was like 5 till I was like 12. So yeah. I used to roller skate through my parents' house. So I'm with you guys on that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the best. All right, Karen, do you have I know you got to pop off soon. So do you have a minute to share, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. You're good. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. I don't want to like leave you out if you were like, I have something to share. All right. So let's go ahead and release this. All right. So let's go ahead and get into a position just for a second where you can just close your eyes for a moment. Just come into this time, this place, wherever we are. Let's begin by taking a deep breath in and release. Once again, inhale, release, inhale, and release. Allowing yourself to come into this present moment, allowing any distractions to fade into the background, and maybe even take you deeper into this moment. As we take this time for ourselves, for our well-being, for our mental health, where we can conjure the peace within us. There have been things that have been challenging. There has been some heavy energy. There has been some wonderful insights, some wonderful accomplishments, some new beginnings, and some things that we are ready to let go of. Go ahead and identify now the thing or things that you are ready to release. Feel where these things are in your body. You may feel them in your belly, your shoulders, your chest, your head, wherever you feel it, identify it now. And as you begin to become aware of this thing in your body, notice what it looks like. Notice its shape. Notice its weight. Notice its color. Notice its size. And just become aware. You may soon find that this thing is movable, is changeable. Begin to move it around. Begin to change it. Allow it to become empowerment. Allow it to feed you in a healthy way. Mold it, shape it. If it's something that truly needs to be broken down or fully removed from your body, allow that too. Trust your intuition. Trust that you know exactly where this needs to go and how it needs to shape. See it transforming now. Feel it releasing its weight from your body. You may even feel a void where it once was. Feel that with any intentions that you have now, whether that's love, peace, joy, happiness, motivation, inspiration, whatever that is for you. Feel this new energy flowing in. Guiding and supporting you. And take a deep breath in and release. Once again, inhale and release. One more time. Inhale and release. having released and transformed what no longer serves you, entering this new moon, ready, cleared, and cleansed for what is to come and what it is that you decide to choose. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and when I get to 5, be fully awake and ready to continue on with our workshop. 1, beginning to come back into the room. 2, beginning to feel more and more energy flowing through your body. 3, feeling more and more alert, wiggling your fingers and toes. 4, beginning to start moving your body, eyes beginning to open. 5, fully awake and alert. All right, my friends, that felt good.
Mm.
All right, let's talk about these new moons we have coming up for the year. We have some really powerful energy coming through this this new moon. And before we get into that, though, I do want to go through our new moons for 2021. So let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Bye, Karen. All right, so let's see here. All right, so we have our new moons. These are our dates. I will send this out to you guys too, so it'll be in our replay video, so you can check the link in there for this, or you can take them down now, put them on your calendar. But I'm just going to go through them really quickly. This year I decided to name each moon as it relates to the things that we can do in our business and in our life. So you'll see that each new moon has its own name of what that energy is and how we can utilize it. So today is our new moon in Sagittarius, and this is our CEO moon, because Sagittarius is the big vision. It is the ideals. It seeks freedom, right? It's its main goal in life is to be free. And so when we think about being free, and whatever that means to us, because what freedom means to me may not be what freedom means to you. If I were to ask you what makes you free, or what does freedom look like, you'll be able to tell me what that is for you. And so Sagittarius is very much of that mindset, like it wants to be free, but it's the freedom that you are choosing. It's the freedom that you desire, not anybody else, right? It's your personal freedom. And so I want you to think about that as we get into setting our intention later on tonight, is what does that look like for you? What vision are you creating for this year that really hones into your big why of what you're here to do, of why you do what you do, and how you can create that freedom in your own life. In February, we have our Capricorn moon. Now, Capricorn is our earth energy, and I have named it our mastery moon. Capricorn is all about determination and achievement of goals. Now, Sagittarius is the same, right? Once it has its target, it's like, bam, it's going to achieve it. It's like a more of an action-oriented energy, where Capricorn's a more long-term grounded type energy. So Capricorn is going to like see it through for like this year and beyond, right? Where Sagittarius is like, okay, what's the big thing? What do we have going on? The bigger vision. Capricorn's like, okay, let's take that vision and let's like set the path for it, right? Let's plan it out. Let's organize it. Let's get it together. So for me, Capricorn is mastering whatever it is that we do, mastering our craft, mastering our skills, mastering ourselves, right? Mastery can come in many forms. And so February energy is definitely going to be around mastering whatever it is that you want to put in that, right? Because we can put that in a lot of different ways. Moving into March, March 13 is our Aquarius moon. Zumi, our our sun and moon Aquarian. She is what I like to call true Aquarians. It's funny. I have a true Aquarian and a true Piscean here. I got the two end signs. I love it. So Aquarius, Aquarius also is just like Sagittarius in the sense of freedom and independence. It likes to do its own thing. It does not like to be restricted in any way. But Aquarius is more of the thinking energy, right? It's more of the air. It's the air energy. So it is all up in the mind. It's all thinking about. It thinks about the ideals. It thinks about the bigger picture of the globe, of the world. It comes from that point of view. Where Sagittarius is more curious about things. Aquarius is like, no, I know what to do, guys. Like, this is what you do. This is how you do it, right? And Aquarius is, since it is about the bigger picture, about the people. To me, it is more of us thinking about our communities, not only the communities that we live in, but the communities that we serve, the communities that we're part of, right? We can't just look at community as it's not one layer, right? There's many different communities. There's a community here. There's a community online. There's a community on different platforms, social media platforms. There's the communities that we create, right? There's communities everywhere. And when we can look at how all these communities kind of streamline in together, this is what we want to look at during our Aquarius season: is how do all these communities serve me? Which communities are the best for me? Which communities aren't? I literally, for my own self-care, I realized this past week was like, I'm part of a community that isn't serving me. Like, I may be serving them, but they're not serving me. And it's not a reciprocal situation any longer. And because of that, I need to set some really strong boundaries with that and say, hey, look, like, I can do this and that's it, right? I put some really strong boundaries around it, and I had to, right? It's not serving me. That's what Aquarius is, one of the many things, but Aquarius season is going to really pull us in with that cycle. In April, we're looking at our Pisces moon. This is Jaya's moon. So this is the energy of, I said, beliefs moon, because I think as business owners, as women, as leaders in our communities, in our families, in our lives, leaders of ourselves, beliefs play a strong role. You guys know that I talked about this during the retreat, how strong beliefs are, how they can stop you from your actions, how they can hold you back from doing whatever it is that you want to do. Manifesting, if you don't have the belief that it is, like, the faith that it is going to happen, you cannot manifest the thing. I don't care how much you try, how much you sage stuff, how much meditation you do, how many intentions you set. If you do not believe that the thing will happen and you have that faith, it will never happen. So it's important for us to step back, and Pisces is so good at taking that time to look at ourselves, look at our spirituality, look our connection to the universe, God, divine, whatever it is you believe. And it gives us that opportunity to tune into the subconscious mind. Pisces is 12th house. 12th house is all about the subconscious, the things that I love to say, where things go to die, so to speak, right? Where we need to deal with them now, right? I mean, it's like, hello, are you going to deal with me, or are you just going to are you going to carry me along for another round? Like, what are you going to do? That's Pisces. We need to take that time. And I think it's a perfect time to do it, because we're hitting the second quarter, right? The second quarter of the year, April. Good time to review that. Say, hey, what am I looking at? What am I doing? Next, we move into May 11th, which is our Aries moon. Now, Aries is the warrior. It's the impulsive. It's the kid of the zodiac. It's the baby. April is also the start of the new year, right? In astrology, we begin with the spring equinox, right? That's where our year actually begins. Our Gregorian calendar tells us that January 1st is when we begin, but in astrology, we go by April, so the spring equinox. So this is the time we've been planting seeds January, February, and March. April is where we start taking the action. April is all about, like, whatever launches, sales, events, things that you want to do. Spring has sprung, right? That is the time to do it, and that's what that moon is all about. So if you're looking at like, oh, what should I do? When should I do things? May and June and July are really good energies for that, because we'll be in Aries, Taurus. Oops, I don't have that on here. Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Let me add that in here. So moving into, and remember, these energies are all different. So Aries is the energy, it's the fire energy, right? Taurus is our earth energy, and Gemini is our air energy. So I color coded these just so that if that helps you. The red is the fire, the green is the grounded earth, the Gemini is the air. So Taurus moon, Taurus rules the second house, which is all about money. Taurus is all about comforts. Taurus is also about finances, and it's about the accumulation of things, right? It's also values, what we value. And so with this solar eclipse here in Taurus on June 10th, this is a good time for us to evaluate our money situation. How are we doing? We're at the middle of the year, right? What's coming in, what's going out? Have we looked at our books? Have we just been ignoring them? Have we looked at the ways that we're bringing money in? One of the things I'm going to say this year, there's a lot of uncertainty astrologically, right? There's a lot of uncertainty. Uranus is playing a really big role, and Uranus is very disruptive. It's all about change, and it can be like disruptive change. So one of the things that this year is going to ask us to do is to create stability that we can control. And the only way that we can control our own stability is within the incomes that we choose. And I don't know about you, but have you been to an employer where your hours have got cut or you've been laid off or you've got fired, right? The only way you can control your own income is with your own business. Now, you guys are all business owners. You all have your own way of bringing in money outside of a 9-to-5 type situation. So that's what this is. This moon here, this Taurus moon is like, hey, can you survive if your 9-to-5 were to go, or if your other source of income, if your partner, if you're all those things, right? If they were to go away, could you survive? How are you surviving? Are you bringing in the money that you need to survive, to keep yourself stable, to keep the roof over your head, to keep food in your belly, right? To have, those survival type things. That's where that's what our Taurus money moon is asking us to do, is to look at that. And it being in that solar eclipses are all about change and transformation, right? So there's a cycle happening. That's the June 10th cycle. July is our Gemini moon. Gemini is all about communication. It's our chit chatter. It's our flirty sign, right? It loves to connect with people. It loves to share information. And so this is a good time for us to look at our communication. How are we communicating our message to people? What does our communication look like as far as our business cards, our websites, our pamphlets, our brochures, our packages? Like, what does that look like for us? How are we communicating? Our emails, right? Newsletters, anything that we communicate with, and which is a lot, right? Social media posts. How are we communicating? This is a good time to review that and say, clear that up, right? How can I communicate my message better? What can I do? How can I streamline this, right? And then August 8th, my favorite, because I'm a Cancer moon. This is our Cancer moon. And our Cancer moon is nurturing, right? It is about home and family roots and tradition. This is a time for us to nurture ourselves, as well as nurture our communities, nurture our clients, nurture our customers, nurture our families, right? This is time for us to either receive and give in that way that feels right for us, right? If we look at it from a business sense, how are we nurturing our people? How are we supporting them, right? What can we do? What can we add in? Or on the flip side of that, what am I doing that is not nurturing me, that is not feeding me, that I maybe need to cut out, that I need to stop, that I need to say like, wait, I need to set some stronger boundaries here because this is not working. This is not feeding me anymore. And this is important, right, for us to take a look at and see. September 6th, we have our Leo moon. Now, Leo is our leader. It's our natural born leader, loves to be in the spotlight, loves to be creative and have fun and joyful, right? And I think this is an important time in the Leo new moon, and that looking at it is to step into our own leadership. How are we leading ourselves? How are we leading others? How are we leading our families, right? What are we doing in as far as that leadership role that we play? Is it working for us? Do we need to step into it more? Do we need to change the way we're doing something, right? What's our style? How are we doing? How are we leading, right? Maybe we are looking at the leadership style that we choose. And then October 6th, which is another one of my favorite moons, even though I'm not a Virgo, is our systems. I do love systems though, is looking at our systems in our business, how we're doing things, systems in our life. What are we creating that's helping us? Like oftentimes we have routines and rituals that we do on a regular basis that we might not even be conscious of. And in many times they're not serving us, right? And so this taking that moment to say, wait a minute, how can I make this easier? Am I overthinking this? Am I making this more than it needs to be? How can I make this simpler? How can I simplify, right? How can I make this super easy for me so that I'm not getting caught up in it, right? And systems, we have systems, there's a zillion systems that I'm sure you have in the way you do something, right? The way you bring on a new client, or the way you can email your clients, or maybe even your follow-ups to your clients, right? Or how you're attracting clients, right? Like that's all a system. It's a way that you do it. It's like looking at the process of, is this working or is this not? And maybe refining it where it needs to be. And then as we move into November 4th, we have our Libra moon. And Libra is, again, always about balance. And this is right before we enter like the holiday season, right? Where it starts to get kind of crazy and busy. And this is a time for us to make sure that we're honoring the both sides, the sides of us that wants to relax and the side of us that wants to stay busy, right? The side of us that wants to that's not so great about ourselves, the things that we don't like, the shadow side of ourselves, and the sides that we love about this side. It's like we need to start looking at that, balancing that out, because in December we have our Scorpio moon. Our Scorpio always asks us to transform. It's always asking us to release, to let go, to shed, to rise, right? It's asking us to transform, but we need to look at in the Libra moon to say what is going on here, what's not working, what's working. And have I leaned too far one way or the other, right? Have I been working so much on my business that my relationships are going to hell, or are my relationships so great that my business is going to hell, right? Like what are we doing? I know for me personally, running two businesses can get extremely hard. I find oftentimes one drops and the other one rises, right? And then I have to like balance it back out. Okay, this one needs to go first and this one needs to go on the back burner, right? And then finally our Scorpio, which is also another solar eclipse, which is another transformative time, right? It's a time for Scorpio is about going deep. It's about unraveling what's been hidden, bringing it to light, and sometimes not in such a great way, so that we can transform, right? That we can change and evolve into our best self, our higher self, right? All right, so on this page, I also have our full moon, so you'll see that as well. And then I also added on here when our sun moves into each sign. So this Thursday, our sun moves into Capricorn. And then finally, we have our Mercury retrograde dates. So this Thursday, we move into Mercury retrograde shadow. And so if you listened to, I think the forecast I did on Monday, right? I talked about the 14th and to pay attention to what is coming up for you, what things are going on around those dates, 14, 15, 16, like right as we start to enter the shadow period, because that's going to tell you what this Mercury retrograde season is going to be for you. So new things may come up. There may be, especially around what Mercury rules, right? Which is technology, communication, contracts, short travel. So look in the next, the end of this week, what's coming up for you there. And those are things that are going to, in a way, be activated during that Mercury retrograde season. But the first one is January 30th, and it goes through February 12th. So we always see our shadow period a few weeks before and a few weeks after. So we're pretty much going to be here from middle of January to the beginning of March. So I would caution you to any contracts that are coming up for you, any new ideals, collaborations, or anything where you're going to be making a commitment to be mindful of over the next, month or so. If you could wait and put it out after, do so.
So you said, the Mercury retrograde is January 30th to February 20th.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the actual period.
Okay.
That is when it will be retrograde. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the same. So that we have these 3 dates, just so you guys are aware. These are the three times that will be retrograde this year. So you can anticipate that and work with it. Dre, you have a question?
As far as the way that are you emailing that, or you said, or we just do the replay? You will
I'll email it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'll email this document
That
to you
needs
guys.
to be posted.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
That's why I broke it down for you. I was like, I wasn't, and then I was like, I might as well just break it down for you guys, make it really easy. You could post it somewhere or throw it in your. I already have all these dates on my Google Calendar. I wanted to make sure I knew. All right. So, any questions on that before we get into this current new moon?
I have a question about this, knowing the different seasons. How do we use that tool of knowing which of the seasons?
The new moon cycles or the sun seasons?
Well, like Capricorn season, Aquarius season. Like
okay.
There was a date, January 12th, or so all the seasons, is that just, this is what it is? Or
so that's when the sun will move into that sign. Okay. And so the sun is our illuminator, right? Yeah. It illuminates everything. So when the sun moves into that energy, whatever that energy is for this next one, it'll be Capricorn. It will be illuminating all things Capricorn. It'll be illuminating. So it's the season of Capricorn. It's the season of all things determination, planning. And so for us, how we can use that is like, okay, the energy that is around us right now is going to be Capricorn. Mm-hmm. So what can I do in my life and my business to use that energy to support me? Capricorn, if we've been struggling with like getting down and dirty with things, right? Like getting into things, like really long-term type initiation, right? Not that floppy kind of all over the place kind of energy, but like really grounded and structured. Mm-hmm. We can use Capricorn energy to help us.
Yes.
So if we're, if there's something that's like, oh, I really need to have some feet on this, I need to feel like really grounded in this, the earth seasons are going to be the best time to do that. Okay. If we're like, I need some time, I need communication, I need to work on like, sometimes I work with people who struggle with like speaking they're using their voice, like speaking out, right? I'm going to look at our air signs, or I'm going to look at our fire signs and say, during this time is the best time for you to execute this, best time for you to do this, right? Mm-hmm. So when we sit down to do, and I think you guys both scheduled it already, and if you haven't scheduled your goal setting session, make sure you do that. We will look at that, and I will tell you like what's the best kind of season for whatever goals you're anticipating to like work in them or activate them, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. This is, yeah, you're very, very welcome. It's a great question. Okay. So let's get into this new moon in Sagittarius. I'm just going to pull my notes up over here. All right. So new moon is actually tonight. Sagittarius is our, as I said before, is our visionary, is our CEO moon. And so this is the time to look and to tune into the bigger vision, your why you do what you do, why you're doing what you're doing, what you have planned or what you're visioning for this year to look like for yourself, right? You know, last week I took some time to like think about what are the things that I want to do this year, right? From my business. And I also looked in like in my life as well. Like, what are the things that I want to accomplish this year? What are the things that I want to do? I want to feel. I want to be, right? Not just the oh, I want to release 20 pounds. Like not like just that, but like more of the energy that I want myself to be in, because that's the freedom aspect of it, right? In order for us to be free, we need to know what that freedom looks like. For me, freedom is traveling, like being able to go wherever I want, whenever I want. You know, that's part of freedom for me. So it's like, how can I create that this year? What do I need to do to create that? And also looking at the stability side, because I know this year is a lot about stability, looking at how can I create that stability with that so that I can do those things. So no matter what happens, right? No matter what happens in our world, that I can still have that stability within me. So this is very much I would invite you to look at your why, your big why of why you do what you do, or why you're seeking freedom, or what you're seeking freedom about, to kind of tune into what that might be for you. But there is a lot of, there's a couple of things that are happening with this new moon that is making it quite interesting, intense. We have Pluto is conjunct our new moon. So we basically have Pluto with our two biggest luminaries, our sun and our moon. And Pluto, if you know Pluto is our transformation. It is our death and rebirth. It is our things that are hidden, things that are you know, not readily available to. It's the things that we like push down, that we don't talk about, that we don't want to deal with, right? We just kind of push them down. Pluto brings them to our attention, and in this case is illuminating them for us because it wants us to transform. And you know, anytime there is a transformation, it's not always easy, right? But it's necessary. So there may be things that we may be experiencing that are a little bit more transformative, that are a little bit more destructive, that in this moment doesn't feel good, but is here for a reason, is here for a purpose, right? So we have Jupiter, where it currently is actually in its what's called its fall. So in certain signs, Jupiter is exalted, and in certain signs, Jupiter is in its detriment. It is currently in its detriment. So normally Jupiter would be about expansion, right? It's about growing things, making things, expanding things. But in its detriment, it is not. We don't have that energy to help us. It is it's not a helpful energy. It's kind of restricted in a way. So we don't get that expansion that we would normally want, right? So if it is going to expand anything, it could be in a not so great way. It's kind of like that idea of too much of a good thing. Like, you know, where you've had so much that you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Right? It's kind of like that, where it's kind of like too much of a good thing. It's not in a good way. We also have some things going on with, it's like there's a lot of conflicting energy. So we have Jupiter, this planet of expansion, which is making what's called a square to Uranus. Squares are harder aspects when we look at this in astrology. They can be more challenging. It's like the two energies are battling, you know, in a way. You can look at it like that. And Uranus is our planet of change, sudden events, surprises. It's unpredictable energy. Uranus is like the rebel of the planets, right? And we often say it's my love says this. He loves to say that it rotates on its belly, like it's the rebel, like it doesn't do what everybody else does. It does its own thing. And so it is very, very unpredictable. So it paired with our expanding Jupiter, it's not it's not a good time.
Mhm.
It's the idea that anything can happen. It's kind of like that. It's like anything can happen. It's not rooted. It's not rooted at all. It's very up in the air kind of idea. So this is why I say it's not normally like we look at our new moons and we're like, okay, yeah, new, fresh new moon. This one is not like, come, let me help you. It's like, no, what are you doing? What's
Mhm.
going on? Hold up, don't make any plans. Like it's kind of like that. We also have Mars, which is our planet of, you know, war, destruction in a lot of ways, right? Conflict we often see with Mars. It is also making a hard aspect with Saturn. So this is causing a lot of confrontation, high confrontation, conflict, lots of frustration. Like it's like not being able to hold on to that frustration. It's just like letting it out, like releasing all frustration. It's not so Saturn is definitely the planet of restriction, right? It's also the planet of power, right? Of government, of big business. So we're looking at Mars, the planet of conflict and war, right? Versus this planet of power and this planet of government. This like when we think of power, the power comes in many different ways, right? So, like big businesses are powerful, right? They rule our economy in a lot of different ways, right? Governments are powerful, right? They tell us what we can do, what we can't do, right? Like they're very, this is power. And you look at the energy of Mars being very destructive and can be very impulsive. These two pairings can cause a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And then you pair that with our unexpected energy of Uranus. Like you see how this isn't a friendly, nurturing, come here, let me hold you moon. This is a like, let's get out there and fight, right? This is what we're seeing, and we're definitely seeing this in our world right now. So this isn't an easy moon. This is a very, very challenging moon. We pair this with, so Mars, as you know, all these planets are constantly moving, right? So as it's moving, every planet changes where it's at and who it's connecting with, so to speak, who it's speaking with, right? Aspects generally is we look at the planets speaking with each other, how they're speaking, how they're communicating. The squares that can be a little bit more aggressive, right? Well, we have our Mars, who is moving along, doing his thing, right? Who makes a conjunction with Uranus on January 20th. This is making another, like we're watching this planet move along, and as it's moving along, it's touching the different planets. And it's going to touch with our unexpected energy of Uranus on the 20th. So I give you guys that as a date, to give you like a heads up in a way, like, hey, you know, a lot of astrologers out there are predicting that there's something big coming, something big happening around this energy. So I don't want to scare you. I'm not trying to scare you in any way, but I'm trying to let you be aware, right? This may be a challenging day. And already this was going to be a challenging day, period, right? No matter what, this was going to be a challenging day. But even more so, we can look at it from an astrological perspective and say, okay, this is why, like even last week when I was like trying to take the time off, people were messaging me like, what is going on? You know, and it was like, yeah, like there was so many things that were happening energetically last week that I could, not that I wanted, you know, things to go the way they went, but hello, you know, I could see why. And the same is coming this next week. So prepare yourselves, ground, release, watch your emotions. Don't hold on to anything that isn't yours. Like, let it go. It's not worth, you know, it's not worth your own health. It really, really isn't. Just protect yourself in whatever way you can. That's what I'll say with that. And Mars will be in its full body at that point. It will be in its full expression. It won't be blocked by Saturn anymore. So it will, like right now, it's kind of blocked by Saturn. There's a little bit of a blocking with it. But once it releases from Saturn, it's going to be full energy. So just be mindful. Very explosive environment coming. So just take account of that. Take it as it is. There's going to be some power struggles. There's going to be new ways with Pluto. I would anticipate new waves of death, and whether that is like literal death or whether that's death of ideas, death of ourselves. See, so I tell you that from a big standpoint, but now I want you to bring that into yourselves, right? You're feeling this energy, and probably in different ways for different reasons, right? How can you channel that energy for yourself, though? Because this is a very like getting rid of old and bringing in new kind of idea. This is transformation. What do you need to get rid of, right? What are you holding on to? Sagittarius is about values. Like, what are you holding on to? What do you value? What's your ideal for you, right? What does that look like for you? How can you use this energy to break out, right? To break out of something that is restricting you, something that is holding you back. How can you use this? Also look for it in your like, what change can I prepare myself for? And what can I do when there is unexpected change that I don't have control over it? How am I going to be flexible with it, right? Like, I think one of the biggest things that I learned in 2020 was flexibility. Like, I've always prided myself in being pretty flexible, but I think it was like, I needed to like, really confront flexibility and what that is for me. And in this year, it's like, okay, I need to be flexible. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I have, I can look at astrology and it can give me some clues. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, right? But I can have my vision. I can set my plan, but I can be flexible with it. I can move with it. I can shift with it, how it's best going to serve me. And that is why I'm inviting you this month, this lunar cycle, to take a look at your vision and your freedom and your why. Because if you can tune into that when things get harder later in the year, because this year there's a number of things that are happening with Uranus all year long. So there's change. There's not going to be any stability. If you were waiting for 2021 to be like, I could breathe. No, this is not like, go to 2022, my friend. Like,
fasten your seatbelts.
Fast forward to 2022, because even then, like, things will start to ease up, but it's not going to ease up this year. I will not tell anybody that it's going to ease up this year, because it's not. It's not. We know that intuitively. We know that. We already know that. So yeah, keep those things in mind. Again, watch out for any contracts. And I say contracts, don't break contracts either. Don't enter contracts. Don't break contracts right now. Don't do any long-term agreements because the energy is not right for it, right? The energy is very explosive and very impulsive. And so you may jump into something not really thinking it through and then get committed. You know what I mean? Be mindful of that. And paired with Mercury retrograde coming, just hold off. If you can hold off for another month or so. Like, I was literally going to do I'm going to still do it, but I just moved the launch date back. Soulmate client attraction. I'm going to do like a whole 4-week thing. You guys are all invited, and actually as a member you'll get access to it for free. But I was like, I wanted to do that, and I'm like, wait, nope. I'm gonna wait until this energy calms down, till we're good, after February, where we have a little bit of a break after our Mercury retrograde. But it's never going to be a great time, and I know that, but at least I can use the best the best energy I possibly can, right? This is also an opportunity to get creative with what your resources currently are, Like, what do you have in your toolbox and how can you get creative with it? Work with what you have. Like, if you had no other resources, like, this is why I say the idea of stability this year. If you were to lose your partner, your spouse's income, and it was just you, what would you need to do to survive? Like, what would that look like for you? Or if you have another job, or you have two jobs, right? If you were to lose one of them, how would that impact you? What would that look like? What would you need to do to survive? Like, how can you create the stability for yourself this year? Internally and externally. It's both. Okay, let's get into any questions on that before I dive into which house this is for you specifically and how this particular lunar cycle is going to affect you. Any questions before I do that?
have a question. I
Go for
think
it.
you may have mentioned it earlier, but I just want clarity on it as
Yeah.
far as because you keep going back to the stability about
Yes.
this is the year of stability. What is that you're seeing that is the year of that this is the year of stability?
Because of Uranus. Because of Uranus.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought you said earlier, but I wasn't too sure if that's why.
Yeah, because of all the things going on with Uranus this year, because of the unexpectedness of it, the unpredictable energy, it's important for us to create the stability because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't.
Okay.
I think we kind of learned that last year, but it's being emphasized more so this year.
Okay.
Like last year was, I heard somebody say this and I thought that was like brilliant. Like last year we were all in the womb. Like, we were all in the womb, literally. And we've been birthed. And it's like, what do I do now? And what do babies do? What do babies need to do? They need to learn how to survive.
Yeah.
They need to learn how to adapt to their environment. That's where we are right now.
Wow.
That's what we're in. Like we've just been birthed. Now what do we do? That's what this is. That's what this year is. That's why I keep saying stability, and you'll hear me say that all year long.
Okay.
All year long, stability. Find the stability this year.
Okay.
In whatever way that is for you. But be clear on what that is for you though, right? Even stability. What does stability mean? Like, what does that even look like for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's look at the houses. So the way we look at this is how this particular lunar cycle is affecting you is we look at your rising sign. And we look at where the rising sign is in this particular new moon chart to say, okay, this is the area, this is where the moon is transiting for you, and this is how it's going to most affect you, or this is the area of your life that is going to be most affected during this lunar cycle. So for Drea, this is a 9th house cycle for you. So 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius. It is the vision, the higher education, philosophy. This is like foreign, so like long distance travel, or foreign cultures, ideas, that might be even connecting with people from other cultures. This is also from a business standpoint, PR. Also, I would say publication, writing. So this would be a good time if you're in any of that, whether it's for social media, blogging, newsletter, any type of like publishing this would be a good time for you to do that. Let's see. So Maritza, I know you're not on this call, but this is for you on the replay. This is a 7th house cycle for you. 7th house is the house of partnership, collaboration. This is partnership. So any type of partnership that you are in or looking to get into. So those ideas are going to be coming up for you during this next lunar cycle. Monique, this is a 3rd house cycle for you. 3rd house is the house of communication. This is the house of technology, house of contracts. This is the house of short distance travel, neighbors. So this is all about communication for you, which I know is something you're working on. So I think this is great. So this is where your energy will be, what you're communicating, how you're communicating. If we looked at, this is Gemini, right? So we're looking at how are we communicating things. Let's see, Natalie, this is a second house moon cycle for you. So this is finances, this is money, this is value, what you value. This is how you're bringing in money. This would be the month that I would say take a look at your finances. I know we just talked about your finances, so take a look at taxes, your billings, all those types of things. Take a look at that. Focus on that. Zumi, this is so since this is a Sagittarius moon. This is your first house. So when it is our first house cycle, it's kind of what is called like a wild card. So it's anything goes, because first house rules self. First house is all about you, right? So for you, this is a chance for you to reinvent yourself, right? This is a chance for you to choose whatever, like you could choose anything basically at this point. Like it's it's that wild card, whatever you choose to use it for. But it is the house of self. So whatever you decide, I mean, it's going to be, and you, I think just even listening to you earlier, I kind of already got that sense that it is like about you and making the changes that you want to make and where you're going and what you're doing. Like it's very, I can feel it very internal in that sense. But it is definitely a wild card. Karen, this is a 12th house. You and I have a 12th house cycle this month, and 12th house is the house of the subconscious. This is the house also of spirituality. So I would look at the beliefs. I would look at what are your beliefs? What are the things that are hidden from you that you've been maybe putting off, that are like ready to come to light, ready to come to surface for you? You may even be feeling some of those things coming to surface. I definitely am. This is also tuning into your spiritual practice, your connection to the divine, to God, to whatever it is that you believe, right? This is that connection, tuning into that as well. All right, ladies, if you have any questions on that, if you're catching this on the replay, let me know and I will further clarify. All right, so now we are moving in. If there's any questions before I move on, let's go ahead and move into our intentions for this new moon. So you've kind of heard a little bit about, right, what this new moon is all about, what house, what area of your life it's going to be for you. Now it is the time for you to set your intention for this month. What is it that you intend, right? What is it that you want to accomplish? What is it that you want to do? What intention can you set that is going to be amplified by this Sagittarius energy, right? That, even though it is a very destructive and challenging new moon, how can you use that for you, right? How can you use that to release yourself from something, to transform yourself from something? So go ahead and take a minute and just kind of brainstorm. What are some ideas of what you want to manifest in this cycle? Things that you want to do, create. What are some things maybe that you've been putting off or you're ready to start looking at? What are some new ideas that have come to you that you're like, oh, maybe this is the cycle that I want to do this on, right? Using this energy, I want to go for this thing. So I'm pretty sure you have quite a few things written down. And I'm going to invite you to narrow it down to one thing. This is the hard part. What is the number one thing that you want to use this lunar cycle for? One thing. If there is an and in that statement, it is not one thing.
So this is an intention rather than a specific goal, or this is an intention.
It can be whatever you would like it to be.
Okay.
Because people frame intentions differently than others. So what works best for you? You might make it your goal. You might make it your resolution, your outcome. It could be any number of things, but I would zone it into what is best for you. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Because I'll just say this: intention can have the energy of, well, I intend to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really what I'm doing. It's what it's what I would like to do. And you can see how that energy could be very passive.
Yes.
Some people can view intention though as being like, no, this is what I'm doing. And even though they say the word intention, their belief behind that is like, this is what I'm doing. So if that word does not work for you, then don't use that word.
Okay.
If outcome, if goal, if manifest, whatever works for you, use that. If that helps better.
Yes.
Does anybody need help getting clear on what your intention might be? You're muted. It's like, I see your mouth
Sorry,
moving.
my mouth's moving. I need some clarity as far as the one thing that I want to do is actually going to affect, I guess, home and my career. So,
Okay.
so I just have to create systems for successful outcomes.
Okay.
I mean, do I need to Okay.
Nope. You're
Okay. I
fine.
just didn't know if I needed to be like more like that,
No.
for work and for, okay.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Because systems, as long as you know specifically what systems you're kind of referring,
Mhm,
like you're
mhm.
clear in your mind.
Mhm.
Like if I ask you what systems do you want to create, you
Mhm.
can tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, then you're
Yeah.
good. Yeah, if
Okay.
you're like, if it's kind of vague in the sense of like, oh, I want to create systems, but you're like, I don't know what or where,
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
would say no. Then
Okay.
I would say get more specific. But if you're very clear on where it is, then you're fine.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so the energy is systems. The energy is not for business or work. The energy is systems.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you said what type of systems? You had an adjective there.
I said to create systems for successful outcomes.
Successful outcomes. Perfect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you added that in there. Zumi, how you doing?
Good. I mean, mine is similar to Andrea's. And what comes up in this moon of freedom is this quote by Bob Marley: "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And I just, that kept coming forth as I was thinking of this. And my intention is similar, which is releasing blocks to self-love, self-care, and implementing menu workout schedule. And I'm going to steal for successful outcomes. So it's a long explanation to kind of the same intention of a successful system in place for myself.
Okay. I heard, I got the system, but I did hear an and in there.
You did, I know, and I'm like, oh, I have an and in there. So I mean, I can take out that was more of like a specifier, but releasing blocks to self-love, self-care for successful outcomes.
Perfect.
For a successful outcome. Yeah.
For a successful outcome.
Yes.
So releasing mental blocks, right?
Mm-hmm. To self-love, self-care for successful outcomes.
Is self-love and self-care different, or is it the same?
Maybe they're the same. Self-care. It's self-care. Okay. Well, I feel like they're kind of, self-love is behind the self-care. That's why I will fall out. You know, it's like, oh, I'd rather, I sell out on myself. I mean, that's what's going on, right? So I think mentioning that it's about grounding in self-love, and therefore the self-care will follow. Emerge. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So would it be more accurate to say releasing mental blocks to self-love for successful outcomes, or for a successful outcome? Because the successful outcome is the self-care, is the menu, is the food, right. Is those things, breaking it down.
Yeah, let's.
Is that more clear?
Totally, yeah, I'm totally about simplifying it, and that does. Yeah, that's clear. Releasing mental blocks to self-love for successful outcomes. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something in there, but I mean, I feel it. I feel like, yeah, that encompasses everything I'm intending.
Okay, do me a favor. Step into the energy of having released the mental blocks to self-love, and you're seeing successful outcomes. Yeah. Is that the same or similar energy to what you were feeling? Oh yeah. Or is it different? Yeah. Okay.
No, that's right on. I mean, I feel like handling that is going to have the successful outcomes show up, and that the gap of falling out and, selling out really on myself will be handled in that releasing of the blocks.
Yeah. And so well, before I go there, what challenges do you see? And Drea, I'm asking this to you as well. What challenges or blocks do you see to doing that?
For me, it's addictive behaviors. I mean, it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have a beer. It's a hard day. Oh my God. Like just it's like that, the locating that moment where I just fuck it,
Yeah.
and go there, and being able to catch myself and go, you know what? Let's recommit in this moment.
Yeah.
So that for me that's where it is.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like part of it is being handled through your current goal of this month, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like if I can stick to see these things through that I've started, I'll definitely have the next new moon. I'll be coming in with some good, check-in stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also challenge you with your wording there. You said, if I follow through.
Okay. When and after I follow through, I will have the results that I'm intending here.
Yeah, there you go.
Successful outcome.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
just when you say that, really have a really clear picture of what that is for you.
Okay.
Like make sure it's really clear.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you guys in a second to declare, and I'm going to ask Drea to go first because she knows the flow since it's your first time. But
Okay.
Drea, first, before we do that, challenges. What challenges do you see with your creating your systems for a successful outcome?
What challenges do I see? It's basically self-destruction, as far as not doing it and putting other things in front of other people and other things ahead of my own goals. So
And
that's usually what it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how can you either recognize, or what can you put in place so that when that does happen, or if that does happen, that you can move through that and not allow it to block you?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've been trying to do, and like I was saying earlier in the beginning of our call, is scheduling things. If I commit to myself, so much time of this or so much time of that. So I think that it's just scheduling and creating that me time.
Yeah.
Because this is so important for me, that I need to make sure that I keep it as a priority and continue, to set that time. I'm really trying to think of like creating new habits and getting rid of those bad habits, because I do see that I self-destruct by just, always putting others first. So I think that is what I need to find that stability for 2021.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. That's why I had to ask you about that clarity of like, wait, where we've seen this, what's going on? Because I am feeling that. I do feel that I need that stability. And so far with the self-care and things, I'm feeling more stable.
Yeah.
So I'm liking the feeling of it, and I'm able to help others.
So
because
much better.
that's me.
So much better, right?
Yep, definitely.
Who knew?
Exactly.
Who knew having a full cup could actually help you help people better? Who knew?
Oh, geez, I know, right? Gosh, yeah.
All right. So I just want you to and even this might even come to you guys as you're, going through this tonight with the new moon and overnight. Pay attention to your dreams. New moons are always a good time to look at your dreams and what's coming up. Write them down. Write anything that's coming up. And ask your mind to help you, right? Ask your subconscious. Always task your subconscious at night, especially on new moons and full moons, of what it is that you're working on. For any of the challenges that may come up, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, what could I do to help me with that challenge? Task your subconscious mind. Let it help you out. It knows what you need most.
Can you tap into that a little bit?
Yeah. So, yes. Go ahead.
I mean, because like, what is that? What does that look like? What is that exercise? What is that? Yeah.
Love that question. So here's how I do that. So when I was the beginning of the week, when I was like, okay, I know I want to do certain workshops this year because I'm looking at stability. And how can I do this? What's one of the things that I can do? And the workshops were something that I wanted to do. So at night, as I was in bed, before I fell asleep, I brought to mind my vision. What is my vision? What is it that I'm working on? What is it that I'm doing? And all week, my vision was to plan and to receive downloads, ideas on what it is I want to do this year. What's going to help me create my stability? What's going to help me create my freedom, right? And so at night, as I was about to fall asleep, I was looking into that vision. What is this? And I said to my subconscious mind, in my mind, basically, what can I do to create stability for myself this year? That's all I asked. Simple, simple question. Fell asleep. Woke up the next morning, went about my day. And in the morning, somewhere between me morning routine and checking my emails, I was listening to podcasts. And there was something that somebody said in that podcast that was like, there it is. That's what it is. Most of the time, we have questions and we receive answers, but we are not aware of them because we are not tuning into them. We are distracted by the noise of whatever is going around us, and we are not allowing ourselves to be open to receiving the information. So if you have a question, because remember, your subconscious mind holds everything, every thought, every idea, every memory. It has everything stored in there. It's taking in everything in the background here, in your house, in your room, wherever you are. It's taking it all in through your senses at this moment. But you are only consciously receiving 7 bits at a time of that information. But everything else is in your subconscious mind. So even though there's a paper over here that I can't consciously read, my subconscious mind is taking that in. And it could be the answer that I've been seeking. That email that just came into my inbox could be the answer that I'm seeking. But if I don't allow myself to be open to it, I'm never going to see it. It's like where they say that whole thing about, you know, your partner, your soulmate, your lover, whoever you want to call him, right? Like he was right there all along. You just never saw him because we're not open. We're not aware. So my best time to do it is I do it at night, and I generally get my ideas first thing in the morning. When I wake up every morning with a song in my head. And I usually like sit there and analyze the song. Like, okay, what is this song? What is this song trying to answer for me? Like what is going on? Or I'll sit there and think about an email that I need to write. And it's like, bam, I get a whole download of things that I should talk about or something that I should say. Like it just comes. But I've asked before I went to bed, like, help me out here. Help me out. Your subconscious mind is your best friend. Like oftentimes we want to fight it because it's also where it holds our restrictions, right? It stops us because it's holding our beliefs, but it's our best friend. When we learn to control it, to work with it, we become the master. We're not the slave any longer. That's what that is. So thank you for asking that question. Does that clarify for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, never go to sleep without tasking your subconscious mind, especially if you're like something's like ringing in your head. And then be open to receive. Be open to receive. Okay, so Drea, I'm going to ask you to step into the energy of having manifested your intention. So go ahead and do that now. Step into the energy of having manifested those systems. Oh, it's so successful. It's just working. It's just flowing. You may not even know what they are. You may know what they are, but you know it has happened. Feel into that energy for a second. Yeah. Okay. And when you get in there, you know how to declare this, right? With this new moon, I declare whatever that is, and so it is. And we will repeat back to you, and so it is.
Okay.
Take a moment if you need to get back into it.
Okay. With this new moon, I declare to create systems for successful outcomes, and so it is.
And so it is.
I don't know if that was enough energy.
If you feel like it wasn't, go ahead. I felt it on this end, but it's okay.
Yeah?
If you want to declare it again, do it.
Okay. With this new moon, I declare to create systems for successful outcomes. And so it is.
And so it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Woo, that was good. That was like really, I felt that, Drea.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
All right, Ms. Zumi, it is your turn. So the phrase is, with this new moon, I declare, whatever your intention is, and then, and so it is.
Oh, where I just wrote it down for this. Hold on. Okay, with this.
Wait,
new
hold on.
moon-
Okay.
Okay.
Step into your energy first. Step into
Okay.
having already manifested it first. Feel what it's like to
Stepping
have
into this
manifested this. Yes.
this energy, I declare that this new moon for me is releasing mental blocks to self-love for a successful outcome.
Okay, perfect. You got the words out. Now really feel into it this time. Really feel like you're like, this has happened. This is done. I've received this.
Right.
Universe, deliver.
Universe, with this new moon, I declare I am releasing mental blocks to self-love for a successful outcome.
And so
And
it
so it
is.
And so it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
I
Much
love that.
better.
Yes.
You
Feeling
feel
into it.
that? Feel
Yeah,
how
I do.
different that is.
It's locked in.
Yes. Yes. It was loud and proud, and it was
Yes.
received.
And received. Thank you. Woo!
You're welcome. So for those of you that are on the replay, make sure you send me your intentions. I am this year going to light a candle as I used to do in the past of our intentions. I would also invite you to do that as well. I forgot to put it in our email this month, but if you have a candle, there you go. Is that the, oh no, it's not.
It's another one that I have. Yeah. It's some
okay.
eucalyptus. It's some
Ooh,
eucalyptus right now.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So I would invite you to set that intention with that candle. So like sit with it for a moment, really program it, like, or a crystal. If you have a crystal, that would be another. I'm trying to look for the crystal that I had here. I think I knocked it down. Oh, I have my moonstone here. You can even use it with your crystal. Whatever it is that you want to program it with this intention, and then meditate with it, hold on to it, put it by your bed, light the candle when you're working. I always say whenever you're doing an intention with a candle is to let it burn all the way down. So if you want to do a smaller one like a tea light or you could do that as well. But to set the intention, let it burn all the way through, because it's sending it out into the universe in completion. When you stop and start candles, it just stops and starts the energy. So we want to let the intention go, because we have the faith that it's going to be received, and it'll be manifested in our reality, right?
Great.
All right, my friends. So I will set so please, those of you that are on the replay, send me your intention so I can light our candle and add it to, so I know what to charge that energy with for you guys, and send that out and amplify it in the best way that I possibly can for you. All right, a few things just before we wrap up. So this Thursday is our Power Hour. For those of you that are new to Power Hours is basically where we hop on a Zoom call and we basically hold the space for getting work done. So if you need that accountability of like, oh, I really need this time to like just focus on stuff, this is the time for you to do it. There's not chit chat. We're not going to hang out. We're not going to like, talk about what's going on in our lives. No, it's just all about working, like saying, hey, this is what I'm going to get done, and perfect. We get stuff done. So we'll have our Power Hour from 9 to 11 on Thursday morning under our new Capricorn moon and sun. And then we'll have one that evening from 6:30 to 7:30. And then on the 23rd,
said the first one is 9 to what time?
11. 9 to 11.
Okay.
And then on the 23rd, we have our first monthly training of the year, which is all on Natal Chart. So we're going to be going through the structure of the Natal Chart, looking at what's in a Natal Chart, what to look out for in a Natal Chart. We'll be going through the houses. So we'll be doing our very first foundational training on the natal chart. So if you have your natal chart, I would invite you to bring it out so you can refer to it as well as we go through things. And let's see, our full moon is on the 28th. So I didn't go through our calendar this time because we went through the whole year, but you did get a calendar of this cycle in the email. So if you didn't get it, let me know or check the email. It'll also be in your replay email as well. It shows the dates. It also shows when Mercury goes retrograde. It shows when our moon is transiting through the signs. It's a whole lot of goodness in there for you. But full moon is in Cancer on the 28th. And then it also, don't forget our Mercury retrograde at the end of the month. So those are just some things that are coming up this month. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or shoot me an email. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. If you have not scheduled your coaching sessions, make sure you schedule your coaching sessions. If you got the tarot reading, if you haven't done your tarot reading, get booked now because he's starting to get booked up. So he can only do them on Fridays and Saturdays. So just get your date in. And what was the other thing I was going to say? There's something else I was going to say. Oh, your lunar return should be coming out they're going to come out when your lunar return is, but look out for your lunar return email. Most of you guys are all kind of grouped together, which is really nice because I just get to do them all at once and I don't have to worry too much about it. But look out for those. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you guys. Can you resend me? Yes, I will resend you your natal chart.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And I will see you guys hopefully on Thursday. If not, I'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.